It is 10:31 p.m. on a Sunday in February. The home office is lit by a banker's lamp and the blue glow of a second monitor. A printed statement lies flat on the desk. A highlighter is uncapped next to it. The heat kicks on from a vent in the floor. You are doing the math for the first time. You open the quarterly statement to check an error you thought you'd noticed. You did not find the error. You found something else. The advisory fee is itemized on page 4. You multiply it by 4 quarters. You multiply the product by the years you have been a client. The number does not move when you add it up. You didn't start here. Level 1. You are 44 years old. You work as a director of engineering at a medical devices company outside Minneapolis. You make $215,000. Your wife is a pediatric dentist. She makes $280,000. 2 kids, 12 and 9. 6 years ago, your father died. You inherited $340,000 from the sale of his house in St. Cloud and a small IRA he had never rolled over. Your mother had been gone 11 years. At the funeral, your brother-in-law mentioned an advisor named Marcus. Marcus worked at a firm in Edina with wood paneling in the lobby. He had been managing your brother-in-law's money since 2014. The initial meeting was in a conference room with a view of a small man-made lake. Marcus asked questions for 40 minutes. He asked about goals. He asked about the kids. He asked about your tolerance for risk. He did not ask what you paid in fees at your old 401k. He did not ask what you knew about index funds. At the end of the meeting, he slid 2 documents across the table. An advisory agreement, a disclosure form. You signed both. The fee was listed on page 3 of the disclosure, 1.10% of assets under management billed quarterly. You did not ask what that meant in dollars. He did not volunteer. The first rule, the fee is a friction you do not feel because the money was never yours to miss. Level 2. You have added to the account over 6 years, rollovers from old 401ks, bonus checks, a second inheritance from an aunt. The account today holds $612,000. The fee this year is 1.10% of $612,000. That is $6,732. It was billed in 4 installments of $1,683. The fee appears as a single line item on the last business day of each quarter, advisory fee. Underneath the advisory fee, you find something else, expense ratios. The account holds 14 mutual funds. 11 of them are actively managed. You look up each ticker. The weighted average expense ratio across your holdings is 0.74%. 0.74% of $612,000 is $4,529. That is paid to the fund companies, not to Marcus. It does not appear as a line item on your statement. It is deducted from the fund's net asset value before the price is published. You add the 2 numbers, $6,732 plus $4,529. $11,261. That is what you are paying every year to hold this account. That is 1.84% of the total balance. Vanguard's total stock market index fund charges 0.04%. On $612,000, that would be $245 a year. The difference between what you are paying and what you could be paying is $11,016 per year. $11,000 is more than the older child's year of piano lessons, summer camp, and orthodontia combined. You wrote those checks. You remember everyone. Level 3. You open a spreadsheet. You have not built a compounding model since business school 14 years ago. You build one now. You assume the $612,000 grows at 7% annually before fees. You run one scenario with total fees of 1.84%. You run another with fees of 0.04%. You run both for 21 years, the time until you turn 65. At 7% gross, fees of 1.84% produce a net return of 5.16%. The balance in 21 years, $1,758,000. At 7% gross, fees of 0.04% produce a net return of 6.96%. The balance in 21 years, $2,548,000. The difference is $790,000. You stare at the 2 cells. You increase them in font size. You do not feel anything yet? You open a second tab and verify the math. The formula is correct. You extend the model. If you keep adding $40,000 a year to the account, the gap grows. At 0.04%, the balance in 21 years is $4,210,000. At 1.84%, it is $3,088,000. The gap is $1,122,000. $1,122,000. For the privilege of having someone return your phone calls within 48 hours. Marcus has returned your phone calls on average 31 hours after you placed them. You know this because you just searched your email. The second rule: a fee is not a charge, it is a share of your future that has been quietly reassigned. Level 4. Marcus runs his practice out of the same Adena office. His firm's Form ADV is public. You pull it. The firm manages $340 million in assets across 182 client households. The blended fee is 1.05%. The firm's gross revenue is approximately $3.57 million. There are 4 advisors and 2 support staff. Marcus is the senior partner. He takes a 45% share of revenue on his book. His book is approximately $160 million. His gross compensation last year was around $1.68 million before overhead and taxes. You open LinkedIn. You find his profile, you find his wife's profile, you find a local magazine piece from 2022 about a charity gala. The photograph shows Marcus and his wife in front of a step and repeat. She is wearing a green dress. You find the address of his house on the Hennepin County Assessor's website. The house sits on a lake. The purchase was recorded in 2019 for $2.4 million. The assessed value is now $3.1 million. The house has 5,800 square feet. You think about the $6,732 you paid this year. You think about the $4,500 you paid last year and the $4,100 the year before that. You add up the 6 years. You have paid Marcus directly $28,400. Across his 182 households over 6 years, he has received roughly $17 million in advisory fees, some meaningful fraction of that paid for the house on the lake. You close the browser tab. The lamp buzzes once. You do not stand up. Level 5. You open a new email window. You address it to Marcus. You write 3 sentences. You delete them. You write 4 more. You delete those. You draft a termination letter from a template you find on a forum. You save it to drafts. You do not send it. You think about calling your brother-in-law. He referred you. He still uses Marcus. He does not read his statements. You have asked him twice, casually, over Thanksgiving dinners. Both times he said the returns were fine. Both times he said Marcus was a great guy. You think about your wife. She knows the account exists. She does not read the statements either. You draft her a second email summarizing what you found. You attach the spreadsheet. You do not send that one either. The heat clicks off. The house is quiet. The printed statement is still flat on the desk. The highlighter is still uncapped. You are not angry. You are tired in a way you did not know could be a feeling. The money is real. The fee is real. The compounding is real. The friend who referred you is real. The house on the lake is real. The green dress is real. At 11:42 p.m., you close the laptop. You do not send the email. You will not send it this week. You will send it or you will not send it in the spring. The third rule: every quarterly statement you do not open is a dividend you have paid to someone else. It is 10:31 p.m. on a Sunday in February. In a different home office, in a house in a suburb of Denver, a banker's lamp is on. A second monitor glows blue. A printed statement lies flat on the desk. A highlighter is uncapped beside it. A man is doing the math for the first time. He is 38. His father died in October. He inherited $190,000. At the funeral, a friend from graduate school suggested an advisor at a firm with wood paneling in the lobby. He signed the papers in a conference room with a view of a small man-made lake. He is looking at the fee line. He is multiplying it by 4. He is multiplying the product by the years ahead. The interest compounds. It always does.